Hi folks, welcome to another edition of An Hour with Bob. I got a special guest for you today. He's an old friend. He was even my boss at one point for a few years. And a good guy, a downright good guy. And the reason he's here is because I want to see him do well. And it's the governor. Dan McKee, how you doing?
Hi, Bob. It's always great to see you.
I'm glad you could make it.
Yeah, I rearranged the schedule. You know, today I was in Westerly. I ended up in Woonsocket. Now I'm here.
Wow, you did one.
You know, the 39 cities and towns
States.
tour that we did together. That you know, wherever I go, people remember that. They remember you, and they're happy to see me.
Yeah. What did we do that? 4 times we did that.
We did it a lot of times.
Yeah.
Coffee cup. Manufacturers, used car dealers, and farms.
And the farms were big because we did more than 39. We did like 62 farms, if I recall.
We did all of that, farms.
And I didn't realize there were that many farms in the state of Rhode Island.
I know. We were getting educated.
Do you remember the one farm that really impressed me and shocked me? There's a 2,800-acre farm in Coventry, Rhode Island. Do you remember
Cranberries.
That? Cranberries?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
And was that in Hope?
Green, Rhode Island.
Green, yeah.
And you know all those all over there.
You know all the villages in the state.
I do. I know all the roots in the state.
I try to know all the cities and towns, but you know all the villages.
I do.
We have 5 villages in my hometown, Cumberland.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was born in the valley.
There you go.
In the house, as I point out to you. You were born in the hospital. Even though you're a native Cumberlandite.
This is true. I asked that question when I put my papers in. I says, you know, I wasn't born in, I was born in like, probably Pawtucket. Was it Lyon maybe? Lyon maybe?
I think you were born in Lyon.
Yeah. So they said, no, you can still say Cumberland.
You can still say Cumberland.
Yes.
But I still have an upper hand on you.
You do. Well, you have.
I was born on 20 Eddy Street in Cumberland, Rhode Island. It was just ironic. 20 Eddy Street.
Yeah.
You look, if I went out the door, if I was on that porch and walked out to the street, looked down, what would I see at the end of the street?
You would see McKee Brothers Oil.
How do you like that?
Right on Davis Street.
What is it? Change names?
And we're still there. No, we're still on Davis Street, McKee Brothers Oil.
No, I mean, does it Eddy Street change names? Because it doesn't turn. It looks like it's the same street.
I think it goes down, and then when it turns into Davis Street.
Davis Street. When I was a kid, there used to be horses over there.
We're still there. My grandfather started the business as an ice business. And my dad and his 2 brothers would get on the ice truck and deliver the ice up to the 3rd floor for the ice boxes.
Wow.
And then when my dad got out of
That's heavy stuff, too.
That's heavy stuff. My dad was a hard worker. And then when him and his 2 brothers come back from World War II, they started to develop the business from a kerosene business into an oil plumbing business. And we're still hanging around. It's a shrinking business, but we still operate. We still employ people.
Still got my nephew working for you.
Yeah.
Jason.
Yes, that's right. And and so that's my background. Look, I'm just a kid that grew up in a boys' club.
And the boys' club,
the boys' club. My dad started the boys' club. My dad started with his friends, and I was a member. Then I was a board member. Then I was a president of the club. Then I started the endowment fund for the club. Got out. I actually changed the name from the boys' club to the Boys and Girls Club when I was president. And then I got out of
Was that the first one to do that?
I believe we were first in New England to do it.
I think so, yeah.
And that was 81. So that was a while back.
Wow.
And so, but and then I got out of the boardroom and I coached for years. And so the teams I coached.
Well, you coached basketball.
I coached basketball for years.
I was a baseball coach.
I know you're the baseball coach. And I'm sure you're still seeing people, now adults that you coached at that point in time.
Absolutely.
I'm saying the same thing.
How many years you coached?
I probably coached well over 10 years.
Yep.
And probably even more when you count the Boys and Girls Club.
Right.
But on the AAU basketball, about 10 years.
And then was it CYO too? Did you do
I did
CYO?
some CYO. I did mostly Boys Club in the beginning. I started, my daughter Kara, who was helped start the girls program when she was in the 1st grade. So I started the girls basketball program at the club. Look, I grew up at the club. I rubbed elbows with every walk of life, and I bring that to the governor's office today.
Speaking of your daughter, I remember watching. You didn't tell me about this. You didn't give me a heads up. I'm watching. I'm watching the Voice, and I hear the Voice, and I've seen her. I've been in her presence when she sang in the past, and I'm going, wait a minute, and I had to do a double take. It was your daughter.
Yeah, and Kara said, she left corporate world. She's doing singing. She came out with her first album about 2 months ago.
Oh, cool.
Recorded down in the Nashville studios with really top-notch professional musicians.
Right.
And Kara's, it's not really rolling the dice, but it's it's going to take her a while to earn a living out of it. But she's in a position where she can do it, and so we're supporting her. And yeah, and that's part of the the goals that I've set for our state in terms of letting let's have our young people reach their potential, Bob, right, and do everything we can to encourage that.
How's Matt? Your son Matt?
Matt's doing great.
He's got the little one. How old?
We got 2.
Oh, you got 2 now?
Yeah, listen to that. So Matt and Laura, we have Mabel James.
Yep. She's got what, 3?
About 3.5 years old.
Yeah.
She calls me every night if I get home by 8 o'clock, which is not every night, but she asks me to make her a hot chocolate, and so we go to the, I get all the ingredients, and she instructs me how many marshmallows to put into the cup, and so it's good. And then we have Patrick Daniel. I get a piece of the action. Patrick Daniel.
Wow.
He's 8 months old, just starting to crawl a little bit.
Nice.
So Susan and I are thrilled. That we put, like everybody does, our family is the most important thing, and I make sure that I'm working in a steady, every day on the governor's stuff and helping people in the state. And now it's a campaign season, so I'm doing 2 jobs at the same one, but I got to try to get home at 8 o'clock for the call from Mabel James.
Yeah. So what do? You do a voice?
Yeah, you get the
face chat.
FaceTime, is it?
Right. Yeah.
And then she'll say, "Papa, can we make a hot chocolate?" So then I go over there. I said, "Well, let's get the ingredients." I get the cocoa mix. I get the whipped cream. I get the milk, and then she has a favorite cup she likes. She wants the red cup. So I get the red cup. And then I ask her how long should we heat up the hot chocolate, and how many should we put whipped cream in, and she has a lot of fun with it. And
Wow.
I'm thrilled to do it. I hope that she kind of remembers the interaction that we're having.
Oh, of course,
Yeah.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. So the campaign trail again.
You were on the campaign trail with me.
Yeah, a couple times.
There's no difference between when I was campaigning for lieutenant governor the first time and now, no, there is a big difference. We have got a real record right now, Bob. Like, it's not a small record. I've set 4 goals.
Right.
We have a 2030 plan. We've already gone through 5 drafts of the plan. It'll never end because we always want to be updating. But in simple terms is let's give our kids the opportunity to reach their potential, right? Whatever that is. And so we're making sure we've invested $4 billion since I've been governor in our public schools.
Really? Yeah.
$4 billion. Now, and then also we've got learning centers going on all around the state, 21 municipal learning centers. And we're going to be creating a culture where in every home, every day, learning matters. And so we're going to really uplift the opportunities for young people. And what we'll do in those learning centers is support what's happening in our schools, in the classrooms, and it's going to be a really important thing. And then the other piece, which we're talking off air, we're going to raise incomes in the state of Rhode Island, and we're already doing it.
Now, how are you doing that?
Well, we're really, the quality of the jobs is more important than the number of the jobs, and we've created since on my watch over 38,000 private sector jobs.
Wow!
And what it is there was no life science hub before I got to be governor. Now there's a life science hub.
Right.
And we've doubled the amount of people in the life science industry and jobs, and we've taken from their average income from about $105,000 to almost $170,000. That's raising incomes, right? Organogenesis right now is investing $100 million in Smithfield right now. They're starting with about 100 jobs, and they're going to grow to about 400 jobs.
What do they do, Jenna? What is
They
that?
do skin grafting strategies. They're a major life science company that's located in Boston, and they've chosen to be here.
Smithfield.
Their CEO actually lives in Rhode Island, and I was with him last night, and they're making a major investment here. So no life science hub before I got here. We're doing a cybersecurity school right now. Have you heard about that yet?
No, I have not.
So
What do you mean, cybersecurity?
cybersecurity, a cybersecurity school. When Congressman Langevin called me, one of our first calls, he said, "Governor, I'm not running for Congress." I was at his house within 48 hours in Goddard Park in Warwick, and saying, "Jim, you're a Rick grad. We got some problems with Rick." There were 700 dorm rooms empty when I showed up at Rick.
Why?
Well, COVID had something to do with it, but also the school was running in the red by $10 million or more, and we changed leadership. Then Jim Langevin agreed to come in helped me start a cybersecurity school.
Oh, right, that's what he was.
Right, and so we're going to have, and we're going to be breaking ground on a $75 million school right on the campus, knocking down an old building, bringing a brand new building for cybersecurity and AI training. It is now really helped transform Rhode Island College. They have the largest freshman class in 15 years last year. And so when we do that, we'll have 1,000 students studying cybersecurity and AI, graduating 250 a year.
Each year.
Into six-figure jobs. That's how you raise incomes, right? You create the training to do that. And also I put the Hope Scholarship in over there too, which means any family, regardless of income, high income, low income, moderate income, they can send their child, their student, to Rhode Island College, and if they are tracking to a 4-year degree after 2 years, the tuition will be picked up for them.
Wait a minute, what do you mean they're tracked into
Well, the 4-year degree, that means after the freshman and sophomore year, they're on track to a 4-year graduation rate. That they'll graduate within 4 years. That will qualify them to have a tuition-free junior and senior year.
Wow.
Yeah.
So in other words, they do good in the first 2 years.
They do good. They are in the spot, and then we provide the vehicle so that every family, they could have a 4-year degree for under $25,000.
But is it dependent on what they major in? Or?
No, and it doesn't depend on the family's income. So that's what I'm very proud of, because I think that one of the things that we do wrong is that we kind of select who's going to be winners and who's going to be losers. Then this one, every family has the ability to send their child there if that's what they want to do. I made the college promise permanent, and since I've been governor, we invested in the URI campus. I just came back from a $100 million investment that we were able to put in, all completed since I've been governor, on the Bay campus. And now they are the #1 public university in New England. In New England.
I know.
Since I've been governor.
Yeah.
Last 2 years.
Well, isn't that, you went to that school, didn't you?
I didn't go to URI.
Oh, you didn't?
No, I went to up in Worcester to Assumption College.
Oh, I thought,
and then later in life, I went to that place up in Cambridge.
You're pretty big with URI with the basketball.
I am all in on the 3 state schools.
Right.
That's my job. My job is to make sure Rhode Island College shines, CCRI does, URI does. The voters will be able to decide on another bond for higher education, a $200 million bond that's going to invest more in each one of those schools, the library at Rick, a innovation center at CCRI Warwick campus, and a life science building on the URI campus as we head into a new medical school at URI.
Which Rhode Island does not have presently.
Not in our state schools. Brown has one, but not in our state schools.
State
and
schools.
We're already putting the seed money in. The plan that was presented to me, where we will put up some dollars, they'll raise some philanthropy dollars, and then we'll build a building, by the end of the decade, and by 2030 or so. And that's going to be a big, big plus for us down there. But our schools are doing well. Since I've been governor, there's no governor that has invested more in our K through 12, our the municipal learning centers, and our higher education. Nobody. And we're connecting in our commissioners, our business community, into career tracking paths.
Which is important, instead of giving them having them take classes in college that are worthless.
Well, no class is worthless, but you still want to have a career path strategy. And then we're also, the fourth thing that we've done, we're keeping people healthy. My office, I had a great deal to do with keeping those 2 hospitals open in North Providence, right, Fatima, Roger Williams. I made sure that we make sure that they had some of the funding they needed, the gap funding, and then we also made sure that the long-term financing. My office, you know my office. Tony Afonso's in my office. He's a bond counsel. He was closing the complicated financing package for that transaction as I'm managing the largest snowstorm in the history of the state of Rhode Island that nobody even remembers, because I think we did a good job.
Right, yeah.
Right?
Yeah. We got more snow than the blizzard of 78.
We were around the blizzard of 78. Look, I closed the roads down. I made sure that all the municipalities had the help they needed. Called the governor of Pennsylvania, the governor of Connecticut, the governor of Vermont, the governor of Maine. They brought in dozens and dozens of high level equipment, and then we met with the municipal leaders every morning and said, "What do you need?" And then if they needed help, Cranston, whatever it was, East Providence, whatever community, Providence. Heck, we were in Charlestown because they had one of the biggest snowstorms down there that they ever had. So when you take a look at the work that we're getting done, and I want to just tell you one other thing, and I would love the listeners to know. Look, so after we keep people healthy, we saved the nursing homes. For 6 years, they hadn't received the COLA that they were entitled to.
What, all the nursing homes?
All the nursing homes. And there was many on the brink there as well when I came in. We restored the COLA for them and also went retroactive on what they would owe because and a lot of those dollars went into paying their staff, increasing the pay for their staff.
Right.
So when you look at what we're doing here, but the key to the whole economy and why we had an additional couple $100 million in May revenue as opposed to what was estimated in November, we are putting people to work at good paying jobs, Bob. So we've got more building going on. And when we build, so if we build the Amazon facility in Johnston, 3 years, who's building it and who's getting the paycheck? They're going home and buying the pizza, right? They're going home and supporting the local economy. Or you do in Pawtucket. Like, look, I promised I wasn't going to turn my back on Pawtucket. Others have. I didn't. So when you build that,
well, I appreciate that.
When you build that
Being
soccer
from
stadium,
Pawtucket.
and I was the tie-breaking vote during the middle of an election, and I had 38 studios slapped all over me by the people who
Right, and
run
I was
against me.
against it.
And you were not for it. They've had over 250,000 visits in the last year, 13 months at that stadium. And then what I'm very proud of is that it wasn't just a soccer stadium. And when you're building it, remember, people were working there going home with a good paycheck for years, for 2 or 3 years. Now it's open. But now we just announced, and I think you've heard me say this multiple times, we're going to build a bridge.
The bridge across the river.
Over the water.
Yeah, bridge over troubled water.
The bridge over the troubled water. And we had the announcement about a week ago.
I saw that.
That we put the financing together, working with the infrastructure bank and with the city, and Mayor Grebian certainly leading the charge. But I had a lot to do with the fact that now we're going to build this bridge over the water.
And then you've got to have housing on the other side.
Hundreds of housing units, both fair market and income driven, right? So there'll be about 80-20 split there. And then the infrastructure around that thing, it's going to look like one of the Major League Baseball fields, like in Baltimore or in San Francisco. You're going to be on the water.
Well,
you're going to have these houses.
That would be big.
You're going to have the bridge that's going to bring people both sides of the river.
Well, they have places to park.
And you're going to have all this walkways and just beautiful.
Right down by the marina. It used to be Parents Marina.
That's correct. And so now I did that. And so when I was saying, look, I could go on and on with what.
Well, I want you to go on, and that's what you're here for.
Well, I could go on and on.
Your numbers are not up there,
that's
buddy.
just
We got to get your numbers
I
up.
know look, polls are polls. I don't worry about polls. I worry about my interaction with people and the work that we're doing. But when we're building things, whether it's at the Bay campus at URI or at CCRI or at RIC, or we have a new state health lab that never existed before I was governor. You know about that at all?
I have heard about it.
So 150 Richmond Street, when I came in COVID rate, we had the worst vaccinated state in the country. The worst.
Really?
With the highest death rate in the country. And I let people know we're going to let municipalities get involved, rescue workers, we're going to vaccinate the nurses and all the support staff in our schools. We're going to reopen the economy, and we're going to empower. We ended up being the very best in the country on the vaccination, and one of the lowest infection rates. But when we would come in to that mess, we solved that problem, right? And we continue to solve problems. And when we build stuff, we are putting people to work. Now that health lab is one of the problems we solved. We walked into the state health lab about a few months after I was in office. There was leaks coming down from the ceiling. It was right across from the Marriott on downtown Providence.
I know exactly where it is. Yeah.
Leaks coming down, no windows. The workability in that place was absolutely atrocious. And one of the themes of our campaign is going to be, we kicked the can down the road far too long on virtually everything, including the Washington Bridge. We'll talk about that in a second. Okay. But now we have a brand new 200,000 square foot health facility, life science building.
And that's down further, like you said.
That's in the 195 district now.
Right.
And if you take a walk,
beautiful building, by the way.
Susan and I took a walk through the 195 district about 3 weeks ago, and by ourselves. I wanted to show Sue this health lab. 80,000 square feet for the state, 120,000 square feet for our new life science hub. And we already have about 6 to 8 incubator companies already in there starting to develop strategies that are going to morph into larger opportunities for people. That never existed before I was governor. But what had happened for the 3 years that was under construction? People were working, Bob. They were getting a good prevailing wage. And they were going home and they were supporting the local economy. So the things we're building are making a difference in people's lives during the construction. And then after this construction, that health lab is going to pay off for decades. Decades.
Right.
Right? So we're investing, and that's a can that got kicked down the road far too long. I am fixing those problems, including the bridge. Look, the bridge, I show up. I got 5 minutes to decide whether I'm going to keep people safe. I shut the bridge down. Then,
well, you had a tough decision there, because if you let the bridge open, you could have had a catastrophe.
You could have a catastrophe, and just look up what happened in, where was it?
Well, Connecticut had an incident
in Minnesota,
years ago.
Minneapolis.
Minnesota, that's right.
Look at Minneapolis, where they had a bridge collapse during rush hour with cars on it, and 13 people died. Right. So I have not met anybody who said that I made the wrong decision and shut it down. It was a nightmare for a period of time, for sure. But I've got an opponent telling people we're 2 years behind Baltimore, we're 2 years ahead of Baltimore, and we're months ahead on the construction schedule that we have. The Waltz Construction, one of the premier bridge builders in the country, is on there with a time agreement and with a financial cap in terms of the cost.
And they got an incentive.
They got some incentives, and I think they're going to beat the incentives by several months. The schedule they're on is already 4 or 5 months ahead of schedule. Now, that's not a guarantee that they'll be there when it's done, but you're already seeing construction, the cranes.
You're seeing cranes.
And you're seeing them pouring the footings into under the water right now.
Into the bedrock.
This is, so, yeah, that was an issue that predated me, that I ended up with, that I'm fixing. Just like the state health lab, just like many other things, just like housing. How many housing units do you think that we have started or completed since I've been governor?
I'm not going to.
And you're kind of into real estate too. I'm going to tell you.
Go ahead.
The state had never had a housing plan for 2 decades. We have a full housing plan. There was never a housing office, executive office. It's been established. I've got the governance model with a Secretary of Housing now that never existed before I was governor. Now it's existing, and now we have the responsibility that where we can manage this situation. We have a housing plan 2030, where we said we'll have 15,000 housing units completed by the end of, or more completed by the end of 2030. We're already at 7,000.
So you're halfway there.
We're halfway there, and that doesn't even include the several hundred that are going to get under construction in Pawtucket that was just announced.
Where's that? Where's that in Pawtucket?
Right across, as we build the bridge over the river.
Oh, on the other side of the bridge.
Yeah, there's already 300.
On School Street, below School Street.
Yeah, the train station opened up when I was there.
That train station is the best thing that's ever happened in Pawtucket.
Look, I lobbied for that when I was a mayor, and I was there to cut the ribbon when it was completed.
I was there too.
But yes, and also, but I made sure that we had a bus terminal there.
Right. Big.
That was my decision. That was about a $6 million investment that I made in the city of Pawtucket. And in the surrounding areas, I just toured the housing that's being built there.
Unbelievable.
There's over 300 units that are just about ready to be completed in that space alone.
Right.
So I have an opponent that's spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on a housing plan, denying that we have a housing plan in place, and the funding that she said she's going to put forward that doesn't even exist, because I put, the millionaire's tax is being put in to offset problems that are coming from the Trump administration on the cost of Medicaid, the adjustments that have to be made on SNAP, and many other things that total probably $50 to $70 million of additional costs for the people, for the taxpayers in Rhode Island. So she doesn't have a money source, and she's ignoring and not telling people the truth that we already have a housing plan. So what is she going to cut that out? What is she going to cut out? My efforts to have a child tax credit, which now exists, first time ever in the state of Rhode Island, a child tax credit got passed this year. I put that into my budget. Or my effort to eliminate the Social Security tax in the state of Rhode Island, which I thought they should have done this year when we had the extra revenue.
Yeah.
But we started the first leg, helped about 9,000 to 10,000 people. that currently are early retirement, that now they're not going to have to pay a tax on the Social Security. My first line item in the budget, Bob, that I'm going to develop, the first line item is eliminate the Social Security tax for everyone.
Good.
For everyone.
Good, because I'm on Social Security.
And so
I get
eliminate the
taxed.
Social Security tax. We are going to lose a lot more people to the Social Security tax than we will to a millionaire's tax. And I also made the commitment, if we change leadership in Washington and we get relief from the things that we have a lot of pressure on, we can start adjusting our taxes, right? And including the millionaire's tax. But I think that at this point in time, that's a smart thing to do. It was a last option for me, but I looked at what the costs that are coming our way. $20 million just alone to change the software for our Medicaid program. $20 million just to meet the regulations that are coming from us from Washington right now.
Speaking of software, and speaking of computers, what happened to that company we had years ago that was dealing with the computer system in the state?
That was what they called it, UHIP?
Yeah, it began with a D, Deloitte?
Yeah, Deloitte. Yeah, so they're still with us. Look, that was another thing that I had to manage that people have pretty much forgotten when we had a cybersecurity breach on our health insurance pieces, our Medicaid pieces.
Right, yeah.
I made sure and brought everybody together where the UHIP people were having trouble collecting their benefit, if you remember that. They were outside, around the block,
Yep.
and a big problem, right? I made sure that no one lost their health benefit, to the point where our health exchange was partnering in with Blue Cross and United Healthcare because we couldn't take on new health insurance into the health exchange because of the computer. They actually put them on their insurance so that nobody was without their insurance. And then I negotiated with Deloitte about $5 million up front to make sure that any costs that were coming out of the state were going to be covered. And then we also negotiated another $7 million for the problems that we were in to make sure that Deloitte, paid up for a problem that they should have, not have.
They should have rectified it on their own.
But no one lost a benefit. Look, the Trump administration attacked the SNAP program, let's face it. They were using food as a political football last fall. And which has never happened before. When there's a government shutdown, the SNAP program was never eliminated or stopped. That happened. I made sure that everybody who had a SNAP benefit in the state of Rhode Island, I actually put some dollars in from a reserve to make sure that every family had food during that time frame. So I could rattle off another hour, 2 hours of the things that we've got done, but the basic elevator speech, we're helping our kids do their best. We're raising incomes in families by also not just college, but the trade work we're doing. I just came from Westerly. Like I said, the reason I was at Westerly is that there's a training center down there to help people train to become employees at Electric Boat and building submarines. They just celebrated their 10,000th job training, 10,000. And the bulk of that came since I've been governor. So we're not just saying, you need a college degree to earn more money. No, you can earn a good living.
Electric Boat, I told somebody just the other day about that.
Electric Boat, we have created, I think, like 350% increase on our CTE programs in our high schools since I've been governor. And I just went to a college signing where close to 400 high school students that had an internship during that junior summer just signed on to go down and work at Electric Boat for, I don't know, $30 an hour.
Yeah, I know. They make damn good money.
So we're not putting all our eggs in one basket, Bob. There's a pathway in the trades. We need them to build all the things that we have that we're building right now. There needs a path into the cybersecurity, into the life science area, right? We have to have that path. Those pathways never existed before I was governor. So I feel very comfortable in this campaign. And like I've said to my wife, Susan, look, the work that we've got done is going to get us over the finish line. Because by the time we're done, more and more people are going to know what we're getting done every day. But we are helping our kids do their best. We are raising incomes in the state. We are making sure that we're investing in our healthcare and our nursing homes in a way that we've never did before. And we are building things, Bob. That's the one I'm most happy about.
Right.
We're building things.
We built a lot of schools.
$4 billion worth of schools.
Yeah, I know.
Well over $500 million invested in our higher education right now. Bay campus that had not been touched for 60 years. And when I toured it, I said,
Narragansett. You're talking
this is a
about
sin. The
Narragansett.
URI Bay campus,
Right.
one of the top oceanography schools in the
Right.
country, if not the world, had not put $1 into their facilities for almost 60 years.
The most famous guy is still down there, isn't he? Ballard there?
One of them, I guess.
Yeah.
I was just there. We cut ribbon on a 100 million plus robotics, underwater robotics building that is now, according to their deans, has put us heads and tails over the competition. And now they're chasing us.
Really?
So I'm pretty proud of the stuff we got done. And in terms of an election, people are going to elect me. They're going to choose to elect me based on the work that we got done, right? And I'll put up the workload that we've got done, and I'm just started my 6th year as governor. There's no, and I'm working through a COVID, working with problems like the bridge, fixing those problems, working with a payroll system. Heck, when you were working with me, we had to take a electric typewriter out and type in how many hours everybody worked. That's the can that we kicked down the road.
Right, yeah.
I'm fixing that. And is it disruptive to some degree when you're fixing stuff that is like should have been taken care of
Right.
a decade ago or more?
Well,
yeah.
well, you know the knock on you. It's not the bridge wasn't your problem. You had nothing to do with the bridge. The only knock on you that I see was that you said heads are going to roll, and they didn't roll.
Of course they are, though. So when you do the investigation, remember that I was told when the bridge was shut down. Remember, we're repairing a bridge that ultimately we found that didn't.
$41 million we're spending on a bridge.
It was about a $70 million contract, and we spent close to $40 million on a bridge that shouldn't have been repaired.
Touched.
But that's the federal highway. That's the DOT. That's everybody who's touched that. But the people that gave of the misdiagnosis, and I'm talking to the choir here. You get a misdiagnosis, a lot of problems can happen.
Right.
And so the companies that put in the reports, right, that were doing the investigation, the inspections.
Right.
I'm suing them.
Right.
Now, no, I didn't know that when I said that heads are going to roll, right? For the first 90 days, I was told that we'd be back repairing that bridge. It wasn't until the middle of March that it was determined by engineers that I hired and legal teams that I hired
that it wasn't repairable.
that it was not repairable. So, yes, heads will roll, and large settlements will come our way. And I'm holding the people who misdiagnosed the issue accountable. And yes, there's going to require some patience. The legal process will take probably through 2027, but it's going to happen. And so when that happens and people pay a price, people are going to say, the governor did the right thing, that he went after the people that really caused the problem with their inspections.
Right.
And I could have went back and said, oh no, it was the last administration, they're the ones that are the problem.
Right.
Blah,
Well,
blah,
you could
blah.
have dumped Alviti. We
We could have done that, but now we've transitioned from him. And we have new leadership there. That is really a new set of eyes on what's happening there. And I think that people have seen a little bit of calmness, right? That it's calmed down quite a bit in terms of the questioning whether we actually working forward. We put a couple extra people into the budget this year so that we can inspect the inspectors' work to a certain degree. That was something that probably should have been there, wasn't there. But
right. Yeah.
But yes, I held the people accountable that should be held accountable. It's just going to have to take a legal process, Bob, to work our way through it.
Now the other side, that bridge is newer, right? That's
The other side,
bridge.
the side we're in, and by the way, I was very skeptical that we could go 3 lanes on each side, but we got the 3 lanes on each side, and when we got the 3 lanes on each side, look,
that made a big difference.
I get a weekly report from DOT on traffic counts compared to the same date before the bridge closed, time frames, accident reports, which actually the accidents are down before compared. And
well, people got used to it.
And also we put in some serious measurement tools, computer measurement tools on the bridge we're using to make sure that it's safe. And I get reports every week that says it's safe. And you know, I got family that lives in East Providence, and my wife Susan goes over that bridge more than once a week.
Right. Matt lives over there, right?
Yes, my grandkids we talked about earlier, Mabel James at 3.5.
They live in East Providence.
Patrick Daniel lives in East Providence with Matt and his wife. We use that bridge. We're not going to use a bridge that's not unsafe. And so, just like when I shut it down, I wasn't going to let my family or your family or anybody's family use a bridge that it was proven out to be the right choice. And yes, we're holding the people accountable. And if a doctor misdiagnoses something and it causes a problem for a patient or a family, you would hold that doctor accountable, just like I'm holding the inspectors accountable for misdiagnosing what needed to be done with that bridge. So it's but I'll also say, look, I have a lot of faith in people. Some say
Probably too much.
Sometimes too much.
Too much.
But I do. And that's why, for me, it's always just tell the truth. If you tell the truth, then nobody can tell you that you're not. But I can tell you, look, my opponent has funded her campaign close to $2 million of her own money. I don't know any elected official or anybody that ever run for office that ever ran for office with that number in. No one. I know, and I don't have any friends that could do that. And I think the overall 99.9% of the people who live in the state of Rhode Island don't know if somebody can put close to $2 million. She's making an interesting bet. She believes that a problem that pre-existed me, right, that I'm fixing, that I'm fixing,
right,
that the voters are going to hold that against me.
Right.
And they're not, because once we're done, look.
Yeah, unfortunately, it won't be done before the election, but
it won't be done before the election. But there'll be steel coming up out of that area in the fall, which would be after the primary. But I'm just saying that's a real risky bet. $2 million, because that campaign thinks that a problem that pre-existed me, that I'm fixing, and I explain why with a world-class bridge builder.
Right.
Right. Is that the voters are going to hold that against me when I'm fixing a problem that pre-existed me. That's a risky bet. I wouldn't make that bet.
Right. Well, she's got the money though, didn't she? Didn't she make $4 million? There was advertising.
Look, she's made when she went to the company up in New York or whatever it is. What's the company? I can't drawing a blank on it. But her job was to fire a couple thousand people at Hudson Company. She did, and then she called those firings collateral damage. During the time she was doing that, again, I don't want to ask a question that you couldn't guess, but she's getting compensated $80,000 a day.
A day. That's nice money.
Oh, that's nice money. We would like to have it. But so look, I grew up at a boys' club. I rub elbows with everyone and everyone. People know who I am when we're out. You've been out and about with me.
Many times.
We're not fooling anybody. Look, I'm doing the work to make the state better. I feel as though, look, the boys' club opened up on my birthday, and we just had the anniversary 70 years ago. I'm 75 years old.
Wow.
And I believe what we're doing is game-changing for the state of Rhode Island. And I believe that the voters in the end are going to understand that what we're doing with helping our kids, raising incomes for our families, making sure we're healthy, building things at a rate that we've never seen before, that they're going to be very supportive. They're going to, the grass is not always greener, and change is not always necessary. We just need to keep moving forward on this.
Right.
And I put in an historic amount of bonding that I'm asking the voters to vote for in November, $600 million of bonding, because we have to keep this construction going in our schools, higher ed.
Right, at URI,
at
Rick.
Right, Rick, CCRI. We need to make sure that we're continually investing in the commerce that is working right now. We just announced a General Dynamics down in Portness, $100 million investment. We're putting some programs to help them offset, to incentivize them for jobs out of commerce.
What are they doing? What kind of
150
stuff?
jobs. So they get a tax credit on every job that they fill, and if they don't fill the jobs that they said they're going to fill, they don't get the tax credit. So there's like a 10-year, scalable strategy there, which they will pick up.
And where are they?
benefit.
Down Portsmouth?
Portsmouth. Yeah, that's a big company. We've done more, and you not only have you done the life science, cybersecurity, but we've done the maritime defense. Maritime defense.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Huge. So companies like Vatten, Havoc here in East Providence are bringing on autonomous vehicles underwater, above water, for defense, right? And we are like we are the center of that work right now on the East Coast nationally. And we have multiple companies opening up, investing in our state, bringing in private equity that exceeds well over $300 million, and there's going to be hundreds and hundreds of jobs that are going to result from that, right? So I didn't put our eggs in all in one basket like 38 Studios did. Remember, that 38 Studios was for 400 jobs.
Yeah.
And we had to deal with that for decades or more. Today, no one's talking about 38 Studios because we're doing the life science. We're doing the maritime defense, right? We're doing the cybersecurity. These are all new things on the game. And we have an airport that is like #1 in Travel Magazine.
Yeah.
There was never a hub at the airport till I showed up. There was never destination marketing until I showed up.
And no international flights.
No international flights. We have the first hub with Breeze Air, and many people have used Breeze Air, right? And I negotiated that last agreement with the CEO of Breeze Air, Dave Neeleman, who now works with me with a core of innovators. He started JetBlue, by the way. And he works with me on a quarterly basis with these high, skilled, very affluent innovators to help us continue the innovation that's going on. And they're ready to, we're in serious conversation for another expansion with them. In the first year and a half, they agreed they were going to have 4 planes here. Never a hub until I showed up. Never destination market until I showed up. We're up like 5 to 6% year over year on our tourism as a result of the destination marketing. Breeze Air is here, and then within a year and a half, they went from 4 planes to 8 planes. And they doubled up their staffing from 200 to 400. That's part of the 38,000.
Right.
Fidelity in Smithfield has increased their footprint by almost 3,000 new employees.
Yeah.
Down in Quonset, over 3,000 new employees have been added since I've been governor. And you got Regent Craft down there building these planes that are going to go off the water and for short trips. They've got like billions of dollars of orders, and we're building a 250,000 square foot manufacturing building for them right now. Andrew, the guy, Palmer Luckey, the 30-something billionaire, who I went out and visited in California,
Right.
thanked him for his business, asked him to come to Rhode Island. He said he would come here in 2026. He's a really eccentric guy, but he started with 100,000 square feet down for these autonomous vehicles, right, the submarines, and he moved it to 150,000 because he knows he was working with a state and had a governor that actually was helping him expand his business. Within 6 months, he went from 100,000 square feet to 150,000
Now, where is that?
That's down in Quonset. That's in Quonset. So, Bob, so polls don't matter, especially when you're 10 weeks out on an election. They're irrelevant. And what we're going to do is we're going to keep on telling our story, and then we're going to let people know who my opponent is. My opponent is
that's the big thing. That's what you got to do. You got
She's
to
a
slam it home.
corporate-
You're too nice of a guy. You got to get home.
She's someone who's put profits over people her whole career, and now she wants to change her spots. But the more and more people who hear about who she is, the opioid issue was on her watch. Her leadership failed a company that CVS. The U.S. attorney has already filed a lawsuit, an additional lawsuit, after they've paid almost $5 billion in settlements since the last election. That's new information. And now the U.S. attorney...
They're going to sue the
U.S.
family?
attorney is suing CVS because during the time frame that she was in charge,
Right.
The report says that the executives turned a blind eye for profit. That's who she is.
And the executives include...
She was the top executive on CVS Pharmacy. Right. So, look, this election is really important. for all the reasons that I've just talked
Right,
about.
right.
I think it's worth the fight. I think it's worth the fight, worth winning. And people that are talking to me know that it is. And so the comparison between going back to square one and keep on kicking the can down the road, or be willing to take a little political heat and actually get things done, let's get things done. I'm not hanging around not to get things done.
Hey, nobody can say you ain't got balls, I'll tell you that.
Well, that and I also look at, what do you got, 2 minutes?
Yeah.
We got the 250th celebration.
Yep.
Rhode Island was one of the original 13. I had Ken Burns here because Ken Burns is that documentary.
Oh, I know
right?
Ken Burns. Yes.
And he did the American Revolution. I met him at a National Governors Association meeting. I had him here in the fall, worked with Secretary Maury. When he walked into our State House, he says, if this is not the most beautiful, it's one of the most beautiful
it absolutely is.
state houses in the country. We put the Declaration of Independence up in the stateroom under George Washington's picture. He said, look, George Washington, Nathaniel Greene, the picture on the other side of the wall,
who was
he's
from
the
here,
second.
Nathaniel.
He's the second guy. We don't win the American Revolution, Ken Burns said, without him.
Exactly.
And so we got a lot of pride in this state. And, it's the summer of soccer right now, which is really good because I was 3 years ahead of that curve with, making that deciding vote. And now it's the summer of soccer, but it's also our 250. And then our state is shining right now. I made a decision to make sure that we put our dollars into the state of Rhode Island so the people in the state of Rhode Island could enjoy the soccer issues. They wanted me to send money up to Boston. I said no.
Right.
We're doing the fan zone down in Providence. I was in East Providence last Saturday night with the Portugal game against Colombia. I was in Central Falls. Hundreds of people are coming out locally because
right in
of that.
Pawtucket, right across from
Hundreds.
the City Hall.
And the same thing has happened on the 250. We're in all 39 cities and towns. I've been to many of them. I've been to Hopkinton, met a descendant of Stephen Hopkins, who actually was a signer on the Declaration.
Wow.
And we're having all these community meetings. And then one of the big things that is going to happen, I hope that people see this before July 4th. They probably won't see it before July 4th.
No.
But on July 4th, we will have a celebration on the back side of the State House with a Philharmonic Orchestra playing all of this, patriotic music. We will have a fireworks display, I believe, that will be there, and then, or at least we'll have the water fire.
And that's
that
on the
we'll go
4th?
to. That's on the 4th.
And Cohen was wrote a lot of patriotic songs there.
He did, and so
And
look,
he was a Providence
it's the summer
native.
of soccer, but it's the 250. I'll be wearing this in the parade in Cumberland, which is the 100th parade.
Right.
And I'll be in Bristol there, and then I will be at the State House welcoming the orchestra and celebrating with, I would hope, thousands of people. We've had over 50,000 people just attend the fan zone down in Providence. Over 50,000. There was
Wow.
8,500 people there the other night. Invite people down to see the USA game, which is Sunday night.
Yeah.
And there's going to be thousands of people there. And it's a family atmosphere, Bob.
You
It's
know where
not,
I'm going to be Sunday night?
where are you going to be Sunday night?
On an airplane.
Where are you going?
I'm going to Japan.
Come on.
I'm going to Japan for the Black Ships Festival. I'm going over there with
Marianne Bradmeyer?
yeah. And
You're going with
and
Marianne, yeah?
Steve Contendi and who else now?
Good.
Yeah.
I've been invited on that trip a couple times. I just can't seem to work it into the schedule, and this summer, not going to happen. We're working 12-hour days doing the state's business, doing the campaign. We're out and about talking to everybody, Bob. But have a great trip.
Spencer Viney. Do you know Spencer?
Yes, I do. I've met Spencer. He's one of the leaders in that organization.
I know. In fact, he's the one that hooked me in. We hadn't seen each other since 1981.
I'll be at the announcement. When are they having the Black Ships announcements down in Bristol? I think it's coming up very soon. It's on my schedule. I go there every year.
Right.
Marianne and that whole organization just do incredible ambassador work for our state.
Well, thank you for spending an hour with Bob.
Now with Bob, now I got to go and do some more work, Bob. But
Yeah.
thank you so much for, you're a good listener. I didn't know you were such a good listener because I talked a lot on this show.
Well,
but you invited
that's
me.
my job.
You invited me to actually lay out the game plan
Yep.
and the long-term game plan for the state.
You did a pretty good job.
And
actually.
why, when this is all said and done, I'll be standing in September, moving to November, and I'll be asking the voters to re-elect me as the 76th governor of the state of Rhode Island, which I'm proud to serve.
All right. Well, thank you for spending an hour
Okay.
with Bob.
All right. Thank you,
Bob?
Bob.
All right. Folks, until next time. See ya. Don't forget to vote.